Do you ever think your food cravings were gone, like gone for good, and then out of nowhere they just like crawl right back like something out of a horror movie? Yeah, same here. I was months into eating healthy, feeling amazing and totally into control, and then one random afternoon, it just kind of hit me. That old craving for something salty and crunchy and maybe even cheesy, like a ghost from my past. At first, I really did panic. I thought, oh no, what if I'm slipping back? What if this means that I'm losing control again? But what I have learned halfway through my weight loss journey is that cravings don't come back to haunt you just to ruin your progress. They come back to teach you something. So in this video, I'm breaking down the cravings that came back from the dead for me and what they actually meant. Because sometimes the thing that you're craving isn't food. It's something deeper. It's something that you've been starving for. So let's start with the truth. I really thought I was done with cravings altogether. Like I'd been eating this whole food plant-based meals for months. My taste buds had been reset. Sugar didn't even sound good anymore, and I'm being truthful on that. I felt calm and I was grounded and free. And then just out of nowhere, it started with something very small. So I walked past a smell, and it was a deep fried, salty something. It was in the air from someone else's food, and my brain just lit up like Christmas lights. It wasn't hunger. It was a memory. It was nostalgia. And that's what cravings really are sometimes. Not physical hunger, but emotional echoes of the past. Your cravings don't mean you failed. They mean something inside of you just woke up. It's wild how one smell, one song, one stressful day can trigger like a craving like that. For me, it used to always be tied to comfort, to old routines, to the version of me who used food to cope with everything. Like when I used to come home exhausted and stressed, and the first thing I would do was grab food before I even took off my shoes. That old pattern doesn't just vanish overnight. Even after months of healing, your brain still remembers that old relief loop. So when I felt that craving come back, it wasn't my body saying you need junk food. It was my brain saying, hey, something feels off and we used to fix it with food. Cravings are just your brain trying to do its old job, even when you've already fired it. And that's where the real test comes in. See, when cravings resurface, it's easy to think you've gone backwards. But really, you're given a choice. You can feed the old pattern, or you can show your brain a new way. For me, that looked like pausing, like actually stopping to ask, what's this really about? Most of the time, the answer had nothing to do with food. It was stress, or it was fatigue, or it was loneliness, or it was my nervous system saying, hey, I need peace, not I need chips. And when I started listening that way, everything changed. Your cravings are communication, not condemnation. And here's the part that shocked me the most. The cravings didn't mean I was broken. They meant I was healing. Think about it. When you stop numbing with food, your emotions finally have space to surface. You start feeling again. You start noticing the things you used to silence. So when those cravings came back, it really was my body saying, hey, I trust you enough now so that you can deal with this the right way. That realization changed everything for me. Because instead of fearing the cravings, I started getting curious about them. When did they show up? What triggered them? What was I thinking about before they hit? And 9 times out of 10, it had absolutely nothing to do with hunger. Healing doesn't always look like freedom. Sometimes it looks like being tested by the things that once controlled us. So here's what I've learned about cravings halfway through my journey. They're like ghosts. They only have power if you believe they're real threats. When you start seeing them for what they are, signals and not failures, you take your power back. So now, when a craving hits, I don't panic. I just pause, drink some water, I breathe, I check in with myself. And then I ask, what do I really need right now? Sometimes it's rest, sometimes it's connection, and sometimes it's just a reminder that I'm human and healing isn't linear. So every single time that you choose awareness over autopilot mode, you bury the craving a little deeper. Now, here's the cool part. I didn't just get rid of the cravings. I retrained my brain. That's the secret to long-term food freedom. I started feeding myself high nutrient, salt, sugar, or refined sugar, oil-free foods that gave my body what it was missing. Because when you flood your cells with nutrients, your brain can finally relax. And when your brain relaxes, your cravings lose their grip. But it's not just food, it's also structure. I built routines that make me feel safe and calm. I shut down the kitchen after dinner, I turn off screens before bed, I read, I journal. All of those little habits tell my body that you're okay. You don't need to run back to old comforts. When you build routines that nurture you, cravings stop feeling like emergencies. And halfway through this journey of mine, here are the truths I've learned. Cravings are never really about food. They're about emotion, about unmet needs, about old wiring that's trying to keep you safe, even if it's outdated. And that's why you can't hate yourself into healing. You have to understand yourself into freedom. Because when you stop judging your cravings and you start listening to them, you realize they're just messages. And messages don't scare when you learn how to read them. You don't beat cravings by being stronger. You beat them by being smarter. So if your cravings have come back from the dead lately, do not freak out. Do not shame yourself. And don't spiral. It doesn't mean you're failing. It means your body is still communicating with you. It means you're still human. It means that you're still learning. This is what real healing looks like. Not perfection, not silence, but awareness. And every single craving is an invitation for you to get closer to the truth, to take another step towards peace, to prove that you don't need to numb anymore because you can handle life as it comes. Freedom isn't when you stop having cravings. It's when you stop it's when they stop controlling you. And so if this hit home for you, if this is exactly what we work on inside of the Walk With Me community. We're going to go deeper than food. We're going to go into mindset, into structure, into emotional healing, into long-term peace around eating. Because this isn't about willpower. It's about rewiring. And I'm going to walk this out right alongside of you. So if you're ready to finally feel free from food addiction, click the link below and join the waitlist. Because we are doing this together. We're not going to be perfect, but we are going to be powerful. So yeah, my cravings came back from the dead. But instead of fearing them this time, I listened. And they showed me something I never expected. That I was finally strong enough to handle what they used to silence. That is a real sign of progress, and not the absence of temptation, but the presence of peace when it shows up. So next time a craving rises from the grave, do not panic. Smile, because it means you're still alive and working. And until our next spooky conversation, stay kind to yourself, eat like you love yourself, and keep going. You are doing better than you think. Bye for now.